Hello, all my little weirdos. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Freaky Fridays, where each episode I bring you along on a tale of a legendary ghostie. This week we are heading to Atchison, Kansas, pulling up to a seemingly normal two-story painted brick home. But if you don't know, then you don't know. The tragic death in the home that has led to paranormal activity and brutal attacks, which in the end led to this home being one of the most famous tourist attractions in Kansas. Today we talk about Little Sallie in the Sallie House. This home was built in the 1800s, and Dr. Charles Finney lived in the home with his family while also using it as his office. And at the time, small towns such as Atchison didn't have hospitals, so Dr. Finney practicing in his home was actually pretty normal for that era. It was said that Dr. Finney used the bottom floor for surgery and examinations, and one of the bedrooms as his office. His family supposedly lived upstairs, but this is where the story gets tricky and makes you question if this is even real. Apparently, the layout and floor plan of the home does not suggest the Finney's living and work arrangements were true. There's also no physical evidence of a Sallie that has lived or died on the property. It was rumored that the mayor made this story up as a publicity stunt to attract more visitors to the city. However, the families to live in this house over time probably beg to differ. So, who is Sallie? Sallie was a little 6-year-old girl that was brought to Dr. Finney's house. Her mother banged on the front door in sheer panic, needing the doctor's help because her daughter was suffering severe abdominal pain. Dr. Finney thought it was very obvious that her appendix was about to rupture, and he needed to do surgery on her right away. So he dosed her with anesthesia, but due to the severity of the case, he had to start cutting before the anesthesia kicked in. And as one does when in extreme pain, Sallie was screaming in agony until her body went limp. Unfortunately, the doctor could not help her, and that was when little 6-year-old Sallie died on the operating table from a ruptured appendix. Tenants of the house allege paranormal activity, especially towards men. A lot of reports were made of men being scratched by an unseen force. With this being apparent, Sallie was dubbed as the man-hating ghost, which, in her defense, it's probably because the last thing her 6-year-old self saw before her death was a male doctor who she thought was torturing her. The first paranormal experience started when the Pickman family moved in 1992. Tony and Deborah settled in before their son was born, and the first few months were a breeze. Slowly but surely, things started happening, but it seemed innocent enough at first. Light bulbs would go out, the oven timer would turn on by itself, and their cordless phone would go dead, but then suddenly start working again. A little of this and a little of that going on, then they noticed their typically calm dog would often bark and growl at the door of what they made the nursery. So fast forward to when the Pickmans had their son. They arrived at home one night and went into the nursery to put the baby to bed, and what they found sent terror through their bodies. The stuffed animals that were usually piled on a chair were now found arranged in a pile on the floor of the nursery. Of course, first instinct, they thought someone broke in, so they searched the home from top to bottom and found nothing. Not even anything else out of place other than the pile of stuffed animals. Defeated, they put the teddy bears back on the chair, put their baby to bed, and went downstairs. As soon as they got to the bottom of the stairs, the light in the nursery flicked back on. So they ran upstairs to investigate and found nothing but a single teddy bear in the middle of the floor again. But that wasn't the first time or place the family experienced teddy bears moving on their own. So they went to work getting to the bottom of the paranormal activity they have been experiencing. One of Tony's brothers knew of a psychic that was located in California, but with them being in Kansas, she was only able to help a little bit over the phone. She did confirm that there was a spirit in their house between the ages of 5 and 13, and her name is Sallie. While that was happening, Deborah got in touch with the previous owner, and she said the only thing they have ever encountered was a very sour smell from time to time that they couldn't find the source of. But then the previous owner remembered that she used to fuss at her kids for leaving their toys out, and they always claimed it wasn't them that took the toys. So things escalated when Tony's other brother came to visit, and since he didn't believe in the paranormal, he jokingly took a bear that was supposedly moved by Sallie at one point and told Tony to take a picture. So he posed next to the bear saying, "Sallie, if you're here, say cheese." And as soon as the picture was taken, he witnessed the teddy bear turn around completely on its own. Freaked out, Tony ran upstairs to tell his wife what happened, but when his brother tried to follow, he stopped in his tracks. He claimed that every muscle in his body was frozen, no matter how hard he tried to move. Once he gained control back, he ran upstairs and they all agreed to get the hell out of that house. So while Tony was strapping their son's car seat in the car, he felt a sudden pain in his back, but in his hurry to scurry, he ignored it until they got to their destination. Come to find out, there were 3 deep scratches across his back that had drawn blood. After these things occurred, the psychic in California was like, "Hell yeah, I'm in," and she made the trip to come see the house for herself. While there, she assured the Pickmans that the spirit of Sallie did not mean any harm, and while, yes, she hated men, she only scratched Tony by accident out of anxiety of them leaving her. She recommended that the family try and acknowledge and include Sallie rather than ignore her. Deborah took to it. She even bought the little ghosty girl a doll of her own and quickly became maternal and protective. Tony described it as seemingly unnatural, as if she was being pushed to think that way, almost like she was brainwashed. With Deborah on board and Tony still on the fence, Sallie decided she didn't like that. So then Tony started experiencing whispers and voices talking over each other, getting the sensation that something was nibbling at his toes, and even some more scratches. Deborah kept dismissing it because, she's protective of the little girl now. Then Tony started having dreams. He was being dragged out of bed, only to wake up and find blisters around his wrist in the shape of small fingerprints. So what seemed to be the breaking point for Deborah to snap back to reality was when their baby started waking up in the middle of the night and letting out a shriek they've never heard him make before. There was also a toy in his room that would turn on by itself and play non-human static sounds that hurt the ears to listen to. Candles would also start lighting on their own, and that's when Deb told Sallie she needed to quit that because she could cause the house to burn down. But Sallie said whatever and eventually started lighting other things on fire, like an oil lamp and even a teddy bear. Poor Tony, just trying to live in his new house with his wife and his new baby, and he just keeps getting beat up. At one point, the ghost hunting show called Sightings came to investigate the house, and in one night, they recorded 11 attacks on Tony. So, being sleep deprived and feeling crazy, Tony started experiencing anger, paranoia, and even blacking out. During one of the blackout spells, he came to discover he had killed a stray cat that wandered into their home with a butcher knife. While cleaning up his mess, he kept hearing whispers for him to stab his wife next. Of course, he said hell no, and that angered the spirit that he wasn't doing what he was told. So next thing that happens, Tony was standing at the top of the stairs when something pushed him so hard that he broke the railing, but he didn't fall all the way down. And that was what woke Deborah up to realize it wasn't safe for her family to stay there any longer. This house seemed to pick up a lot of attention from the ghost hunting world, and after several people coming to scope the house, it was determined that there were more spirits roaming the halls other than Sallie. There's also an older woman's spirit and a man's spirit, and some believe there's a malicious spirit that lives in the basement and may be the instigator of the attacks on Tony. The possibility of it being a demon has been said, and that the demon was slowly trying to possess Tony's mind to get him to hurt his wife. But all in all, the Pickmans moved out, and each new tenant that moved in after them has ghost stories of their own to tell. The house has been vacant since the late 1990s and is now an attraction where people can either book ghost tours or you can stay the night in the home. So that is the spooky story of the Sallie House, who seems to be inhabited by more than just little Sallie. If you have any other ghosties you would like for me to do an episode on, drop a comment below, and until next time, bye!